They salted the earth, after they killed everyone. The Romans plowed salt into the fields where Carthage stood, so nothing would ever grow there again.
I have heard this story. You defeated them for 15 years. Cannae alone. What was it? 70,000 Romans dead in a single afternoon?
80,000. I can still see it. The dust, the screaming. We encircled them so completely that they couldn't even raise their swords, packed too tightly together. They died standing up.
And yet?
And yet, yes, say it.
You never took Rome.
I was 19 miles from the gates. 19 miles. After Cannae, I marched to within sight of the city walls. Do you know what my cavalry commander said? Maharbal. He said, "Hannibal, you know how to win a victory, but you do not know how to use one."
He was correct.
I didn't have siege equipment. My army was exhausted, far from supply lines, in enemy territory.
You are making excuses. I have heard generals make excuses for 10,000 years. The question is not what you lacked. The question is, why did you lack it? When I besieged the city, I did not arrive hoping for equipment. I arrived with engineers from every conquered nation. Chinese siege masters, Persian mathematicians, Muslim architects who could build trebuchets that threw stones weighing 300 pounds. Where were your engineers, Hannibal?
Carthage wouldn't send them.
Ah, now we reach the truth.
The merchants sent it. They saw the war as my war, my family's war. My father Hamilcar had started it. My brother-in-law Hasdrubal continued it. And I was supposed to finish it. But with what? They sent me silver when I needed soldiers. They sent me praise when I needed siege towers.
You were a hired sword for men who did not understand war.
I was the son of Carthage. I swore an oath at 9 years old, at my father's altar, to never be a friend to Rome. I kept that oath. I kept it with my blood and the blood of my brothers.
And Carthage is sand and salt. Your oath is forgotten. Rome wrote the histories. I do not say this to wound you. I say this because the oath was not enough.
Then what was enough for you?
I understood something you did not. Loyalty cannot be inherited. It must be built, every day, through systems, not sentiment.
Systems.
When I unified the Mongol tribes, I destroyed the old aristocracy completely. No more ruling families. No more blood inheritance. Every position in my army, every command, every governorship was earned through merit. A shepherd's son could become a general if he proved himself. Do you understand what this meant?
You made enemies of every noble family.
Yes, and I made allies of every talented man who had been held back by his birth. The nobles plotted against me, for a while, but the capable men, they would die for me, because I was the only ruler in the world who would see them for what they were.
My best cavalry commander was a Numidian, Maharbal, not Carthaginian.
And what happened to the Numidians in your war?
They switched sides. King Massinissa went to Rome. His cavalry, the same cavalry that won Cannae, faced me at Zama, faced me and destroyed my army.
Why did he switch?
Rome offered him a kingdom. Carthage offered him gratitude.
You see it now. This is not about military strategy, Hannibal. This is about game theory. You understand game theory?
I know the term. Explain what you mean.
Every person calculates their interests. Every ally, every soldier, every subject. They are always asking, what do I gain by staying loyal? What do I lose by betraying? If you want permanent loyalty, you must make the calculation obvious. Betrayal must be costly. Loyalty must be rewarded. You cannot rely on oaths sworn to altars.
I rewarded my men. I shared plunder equally. I slept on the ground with common soldiers. I was the first into battle and the last to eat.
You rewarded your soldiers. What about your allies? What about the Italian cities you liberated from Rome?
I promised them freedom.
Freedom. Freedom is a word. Did you give them land, titles, positions in your government? Did their sons become your generals?
There was no government. I was a general, not a king. I couldn't offer.
Then you were already defeated. You could destroy Rome's legions, but you could not build anything to replace Rome. You were subtracting without adding. I will tell you something that Roman historians never understood about me.
Go on.
They called me a barbarian, a destroyer. And yes, when cities resisted, I killed everyone. I made examples so terrible that the next city would remember. But do you know how many cities I actually destroyed?
Dozens? Hundreds?
Fewer than you would think. Because most cities did not resist. They calculated. They had heard what happened to Urgench, to Nishapur, to the cities that fought. And they opened their gates. They paid tribute. They sent their talented men to serve me. And I let them live. I let them keep their religions. I let them keep their laws. I made them rich through trade.
You made your enemies rich?
Rich enemies who depend on you for their wealth are not enemies. They are partners. They fear losing what you gave them more than they hate what you took. This is the game theory, Hannibal. I made loyalty profitable. I made resistance suicidal. I removed the middle options.
At Cannae, I captured thousands of Roman allies, Italians who had been forced to fight for Rome. I released them without ransom. I told them to go home and tell their cities that Hannibal was not their enemy, that I had come to free Italy from Roman tyranny.
And did they join you?
Some, for a while, but one by one they went back to Rome, even after I had proven I could destroy any army Rome sent.
Because you could not protect them. Rome could not defeat you, but Rome could punish them. And you could not be everywhere. Mercy without power is weakness. You showed them you could kill Romans. You did not show them you could keep Romans away forever.
I couldn't. I didn't have the numbers. Without reinforcements from Carthage.
Stop. Stop blaming Carthage. I will ask you something difficult now. You are a proud man, I can see this. But answer honestly.
Ask.
Did you ever consider not fighting?
What?
You swore an oath at 9 years old. A child's oath. Did you ever, as a man, consider that the war with Rome was unwinnable? that Carthage should seek peace, seek trade, seek a different kind of power.
You're asking if I should have been a coward.
I am asking if you should have been wise. I did not fight every enemy. When I united the Mongol tribes, there were some I could not defeat in battle. The Kiraites were stronger than me for years. Do you know what I did?
Waited until you were stronger.
I married into their family. I made alliance. I adopted their princes as my own sons. I wove myself into their power structure until I was indispensable. And then, only then, when the moment was right, did I strike. Not from hatred, not from an oath, from calculation.
You're saying I should have married a Roman.
I am saying the opposite of violence is not cowardice. It is patience. It is strategy at a level beyond the battlefield. The greatest victory is the war that never needs to be fought.
Sun Tzu.
You know the text.
I know many texts. There was a moment. After Cannae, the Romans sent an envoy. They were terrified. They thought I would march on the city immediately. They were prepared to negotiate.
What did they offer?
I don't know. I refused to meet with them. I sent word that Carthage did not negotiate with the defeated, that Rome must surrender unconditionally or face destruction.
You fool.
I had just killed 80,000 of their soldiers. Their army was...
You had just taught them that they could not defeat you in battle. That was exactly the moment to offer terms. Generous terms. Terms that would let them save face while giving you everything you needed.
They would never have honored such terms. Romans don't...
You cannot know that. Hannibal, listen to me. The moment after a great victory is the most dangerous moment. Your enemy knows they cannot win by force. They are looking for any other path. If you offer them a path that lets them survive with dignity, many will take it. If you offer them only death or total humiliation, they will fight to the last man. You gave Rome no choice but to keep fighting.
They raised new legions within weeks. Boys who had never held a sword. Old men. Slaves promised freedom. They just kept coming.
Because you left them nothing to lose. I destroyed cities, Hannibal. I admit this freely. But I only destroyed cities that refused to surrender after I had offered them mercy. The offer always came first. Do you understand? The violence was not the strategy. The violence was the consequence of refusing the strategy.
And if I had offered Rome terms, if I had let them keep, what, their senate, their laws, what would I have gained?
Time, legitimacy, a foothold. Perhaps you demand only that they abandon their alliance with your enemies. Perhaps you install a friendly faction in their government. Perhaps you simply demand tribute and recognition of Carthaginian dominance in the Western Mediterranean. You don't have to conquer Rome to defeat Rome.
That's not what my father wanted. He wanted Rome humiliated, destroyed, the way they destroyed us in the first war.
Your father was dead. Your oath was to a dead man's hatred. I inherited hatred too. The Tatars killed my father, poisoned him at a feast. When I was a child, my family was abandoned, left to starve on the steppe. I should have hated the Tatars more than you hated Rome.
What did you do to them?
I killed them. every male taller than a wagon wheel. It is the one act I am not certain was wise.
You have regrets?
I have questions. The Tatars were fierce warriors. If I had broken them differently, absorbed them as I did other tribes, would my army have been stronger? Would fewer Mongols have died in later campaigns? Hatred felt righteous, but righteousness is not strategy.
My brothers both died in the war. Hasdrubal, he finally brought reinforcements from Spain, crossed the Alps as I did, years later. The Romans intercepted him before he could reach me. They killed him and threw his head into my camp.
I am sorry.
I looked at his face, my brother's face, and I knew then. I knew Carthage would never send enough. I knew I would grow old fighting a war I could never finish. I fought for 15 more years anyway.
Why?
Because I didn't know how to do anything else.
That is the trap. We become what we practice. You practiced war from the age of 9. You never practiced peace. You never practiced building. You were the greatest weapon Carthage ever forged, and the weapon cannot reshape itself into a plow.
And you? What did you build that lasted?
Less than I hoped. More than you might think. The Mongol peace, the Pax Mongolica, brought a century of trade across continents. Ideas flowed from China to Persia to Europe. The plague flowed too, I admit, but for a time a merchant could walk from Korea to Hungary without fear of bandits, because everyone feared me more.
Fear as infrastructure.
Precisely. And when I died, my empire fragmented. But the trade routes remained. The connections remained. My great-grandchildren fought each other, but they fought over something. You left Carthage nothing to fight over. Only salt.
If you could advise me, not the boy who swore the oath, but the man at the gates of Rome, what would you say?
3 things. First, take the city. Siege equipment or not, exhaustion or not, take it. A symbol is worth more than 100 battles. Rome itself in your hands, that changes everything.
And if I couldn't take it?
Second, negotiate immediately. Offer Rome a peace so generous that their own people would overthrow any leader who refused it. Make yourself the reasonable one. Make them the fanatics.
And third?
Go home. Build Carthage into something that could survive without war. Train your successors. Create systems that would outlast you. You spent your genius on destruction. Imagine if you had spent it on creation.
I don't know how to imagine that. I never learned how.
Neither did I, fully. I was better at it than you, but I was still a conqueror. My grandsons learned statecraft. They built observatories and libraries. They patronized poets. They grew soft, perhaps, but they built.
We are both ghosts arguing over empires that turn to dust.
All empires turn to dust. The question is what grows in the dust after.
Salt. Only salt grows in Carthage now.
Then let that be the lesson. Not for us. We are beyond lessons. But for those who listen to ghosts. Win your wars. But more importantly, know which wars are worth winning. and know when victory itself is the enemy of what you truly want.
What I truly wanted,
Yes?
I wanted my father to see me win. He died before I crossed the Alps. Everything after, Cannae, Trebia, Lake Trasimene, he never saw any of it. I think perhaps I kept fighting because stopping would mean admitting he would never see.
I understand this more than you know.
You?
My father was murdered when I was 9 years old. Everything I built, every conquest, every law, every empire, part of me was still that 9-year-old boy, trying to prove that my father's death was not the end of our story. We are more alike than different, you and I. Ghosts fighting for the approval of ghosts.
Then perhaps that is the only wisdom worth sharing, that the wars we fight for the dead can never be won.
No, they cannot. But the living can still choose differently.
I hope they do.
As do I, my friend. As do I.